Logan Paul is a scammer? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Clean Tech, home of daily technology news and reviews, and today we're going to be talking about Logan Paul and Cryptozoo. Today's video is brought to you by Clean Phone. More on them at the end of the video. So guys, today it's going to be a slightly different video. This is not necessarily tech news, but more about what's happening in the crypto industry. Today specifically, we're talking about Logan Paul and his quote-unquote project/game called Cryptozoo or Cryptozoo.co. Essentially, it's a crypto blockchain game which you can play and make money at the same time. So how does that work, or how was it supposed to work? The idea behind it was, you buy the in-game currency, which is Zoo coins, Zoo tokens, and using it, you get eggs within the game. Those eggs hatch and they give you art, which is, obviously different animals, which was claimed at the time that, they've got like a team of like 10 artists who've been, making handmade, unique art for like 6 months in a row. And once they hatch, you can then go ahead and breed them together. And you get basically hybrids, if you will, which you can then burn and get more zoo. So essentially, you could say that it's more of a pyramid scheme, a triangle scheme, also known as not to hate on the concept, but like a lot of games, they're made this way. There's a lot of things that are happening and functioning on the very same model, and you could go ahead and say that it's a pay-to-win model, or sorry, play-to-win model, and that's essentially how a lot of these games work. So all good so far, but what exactly happened with the project? Well, essentially, people combined have lost millions in the project, and the key players are not reimbursing the victims. They're not acknowledging it. The blame game is happening, and that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. So the key players involved in this are obviously Logan Paul himself, the project manager Jeff Levins, the lead developer Eddie Ibanez, and then the advisor Jake, also known as Crypto King. How did people actually come to hear about it? Well, obviously, people came to know about it when Logan first started mentioning this on a podcast about how it's this cool new game that's coming out. You can play. Everybody likes to play games. People of all ages, and you can make money. And it's a crypto thing. Crypto in general is like the hot topic in today's day and age. And so you have that, and you have a game, and then you can just play and then win.
Cryptozoo.co. I am so excited about this project. It's so fun. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
And so it's a pretty enticing, pretty appealing concept, but a lot of my research in this, a lot of the information that I get, obviously, it has to have a source, and my source in this case is going to be CoffeeZilla on YouTube. Thank you so much, man, for creating those 3-part videos, or that series, and that was very informative, and shout out to you. So based on his findings, he found out that it wasn't really necessarily unique art. It was just stock Adobe photos that were just mushed together, like 2 photos, and then they were mushed together, and that's what was the unique or handmade part about it.
It was actually Adobe stock photos mashed together.
And the claim was that Jake actually, I keep saying Jake, my bad. Logan Paul actually invested $1 million into this out of pocket because it was full of potential on the project, and like this was going to be the next big thing, if you will.
We have a massive team behind it and are probably out of pocket like $1 million.
So people heard about it on the podcast, and Logan has like a super influential presence on social media. Like nobody can deny that. He's like obviously done like the whole content side of things. He's appeared in wrestling or is that fighting? I'm not too sure. Not really in touch with all that. He's he's amassed millions and millions of followers. He's very influential, and he has a say in the circle that he sits with. So that's basically how the word got out. And later on, people found out after investing their money. Like some people spend like $5,000, $6,000. Some people spend $20,000, $50,000. Even like there's people that spend like over half or like close to $500,000 into this just because of how they believed in Logan. And it was like, hey, Logan said it, so it's a sure shot pretty much. And we're gonna make money.
Let's make from Cryptozoo.
I lost around $50,000 in Cryptozoo.
I lost $40,000.
I lost around $15,000 US.
I lost $25,000.
$120,000.
$500,000 Australian, which is $500,000.
With crypto in general, in order for you to win, somebody has to lose. That's basically the concept. So you can't really expect to like win just all the time or like win super big. But that was essentially, winning to a certain degree is what people were hoping for. But later on, we come to realize that you can't even hatch the eggs in the game. So the one core mechanic that the game was supposed to function on, and based on which it was able to generate that money, you couldn't really do. You can't do that even today, a year later into the whole project. So Coffee's a lot reached out to Jeff Levins, the manager on the project, and he basically said no comment on pretty much all that's happening. And Jeff told him that it's his legal obligation to report factual news, and if he reports anything else, he kind of like gave it somewhat of a subliminal message that hey, like if you report on inaccurate or illegitimate news, we might sue you, pretty much.
No comment on the situation.
Okay.
Your job legally is to report facts. If you don't report facts on the information you're given, it is illegal.
Yes, that was a real conversation with a real person.
And we come to realize, in the process, like, why is this happening, and why is like all of this just stuck and nothing's happening, no pieces are moving and nobody's making money, and people are just losing money. We come to realize the developer actually fled with the source code to Switzerland and held it hostage for the amount of $1 million. Talking to this so-called developer that held the code hostage, which in fact was true, we find that that's actually not the case. He's not asking for like $1 million or like any of that. It's basically because he was never paid a dime. The whole thing was established on like a verbal basis. Hey, so like you're gonna do this, and then we're gonna pay you this and that. And before it got to the point where they could actually document the whole thing on paper, like the communication gap was there, and in the entire process, they pretty much never got paid, and that's why they were just trying to scam the developer. And because this person, the developer, they had like hired like a bunch of other developers who were just working on it, and according to him, was spending $50,000 a week. In order to just keep things going out of pocket, and these guys never ended up paying them. And so that's why they basically held the code hostage and, flew to Switzerland.
He literally never paid me anything at all, ever. I never paid. And, we got to a point when I was working on it where I just realized they were just going to try to steal all of my work and not pay me. So I took all of his source code private And I just kind of like, we spent like a month just trying to negotiate and get something figured out where I would finally get paid. Because like I'm on my end, I have a team of 30 engineers. So I'm earning $50,000 a week on building this thing. And the only thing they brought to the table were a bunch of Photoshop JPEGs.
The person who was supposed to pay that developer was Eddie Ibanez, the lead developer. His story is that, well, the short of it, he's a con man. An MIT graduate, according to him, and he worked on data sciences, and he used that knowledge to win the Super Bowl. He got to work with the CIA. He was able to create a system that was able to track terrorists and that kind of thing. He's an orphan, and so like a whole slew of lies. And of course, none of this is true. CoffeeZilla actually talks with a reporter. I believe his name is Adam, and he goes on record and just tells that yeah, that's not the case. So he did his own research, and he found out that basically all of that.
I wasn't quite sure what to make of him. Based on what I knew about him, he was a MIT grad who went on to work for the CIA and the Defense Department, and I didn't want to waste his time. And it wasn't long after I sat down that I realized he was wasting my time.
Can you tell me about some of the lies Eddie told you?
Eddie has told me so many lies over the course of my 2 interviews with him, and the first lie he told me is probably the oldest lie that he's told so many people, which is that he's an orphan. I first realized Eddie might be lying to me when I went home the next day and Googled Eddie Ibanez's family. I found a video of Eddie and his wife making rice pudding on a Fox and Friends segment on Fox News. And Eddie's wife, Jackie, explained that she learned the recipe from Eddie's mother.
Is a lie, but because he's such a talented and great con man, he was able to convince even billionaires to actually invest into this project. Then we have Jake, the crypto king, or the advisor, and upon talking to him exactly what's going on and why all this is happening, he at first he blamed the whole thing on Eddie, and he was like, yeah, it was all his fault, and that's why people have lost their money.
Right. One more thing about Eddie before we get off of him. We actually
the biggest reason it failed, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because I don't want it to ever be thought that Logan's the reason it failed. He's not. Logan wasn't smart enough for what he tried to build, and then when it was built and was failing, didn't have the ability to correct it and to save face and reputation. It was more convenient to pull out than to be associated with a failing project that the dev rocked. So I could put that one sentence on the record.
But later on, he says that Logan Paul actually stole $40 million from him, which is why the opposition struck. So essentially at this point, I mean, they're part of the same project, but it's pretty much every man for himself. Everyone's trying to fill their pockets to the best of their abilities, and backstabbing each other in the process.
On the day of launch, he said this to the group: Logan, you stole 40 million in tokens from me. You are a scam artist. You are a liar, and you betrayed your own community. You aren't that guy. Logan replies, oh, Jake, trust me, bro. I am that guy.
In the group chat that they had, initially they wanted to sell before the launch, a pre-launch, if you will. They were talking about we can sell this for this much money or that much money, like hundreds of millions of dollars, and that was the goal. This is before they have anything even functional. So they did a pre-launch in which all these guys decided that what we're gonna do is in order to avoid the eyes of the law, pretty much, they were like, we're gonna do a super secret soft launch where we'll actually go ahead and buy these tokens, or the zoo tokens, if you will, first, super cheap. Then we're gonna roll it out or extend it to friends and family, and then we're gonna roll it out to the general public. But because we'd be going in and buying it super cheap, when the volume hits, all that is gonna be worth so much more. The pre-launch didn't actually go how they planned it, though. So Jake backstabbed the guys who were involved and bought $200,000 like off the books, off the records, without telling anyone. And that basically messed with the whole thing. And so the guys decided to create a second set of tokens that was named identically to the first one. And it was 11,240, 50, something like that, wallets. And they ported like under 11,000 of those onto the new tokens that they created of the same value, and they blacklisted a bunch of different wallets in the process. A lot of those wallets were Jake's, the Crypto Kings, and so he made the whole thing about how these guys have screwed me over and this and that. We later find out that the frozen wallet, or the frozen amount, was later returned to Jake, but you know, he had like other hidden smaller investments, you know, using which he basically was able to make $6 million. Heck of a payday, really. But yeah. He even goes on record and says that, you know, you can that it's a pretty close or accurate guess, and you know, you can just say that you know, you can tell people that yeah, I took a couple of millions and just leave it at that. Like $1 million, $6 million, you know, I mean, it's just numbers at this point. You know, a payday is a payday. Like, he was able to pocket that money for himself, and so did Eddie. You know, he sold his share and made millions as well. The only guys that didn't sell from the initial members was Logan and the manager, Jeff. At this point, nobody's willing to take the blame for it. Nobody's acknowledging the fact that, you know, they pretty much mess with people's hard-earned money and investments, and nobody's acknowledging the victims. Nobody's talking about trying to refund them. Nobody's talking about like the project and how they, if at all, there's a possibility of them to like actually do something about it and try to get it going. And so yeah, that's a pretty brief summary. Again, Coffee's, thank you so much for covering the content like you did. That was how I was able to actually gather my information. I clearly don't know a whole lot about crypto personally, but then again, I mean, this was just a mind slurpee, if you will. Like just so much going on, and like just so many moving pieces. He said, she said, and like just. But yeah, crypto's not for everyone, I guess. I mean, it's one thing for people to lose money in crypto, you know, like you can, I don't know, sell early, sell at the wrong time, and not make enough money. And so, you know, like taking a hit that way is one thing, but for like the whole project to get pulled from under your feet is like a totally different thing. And to that, I say just you know, I mean, that's to be expected, I guess, if you have like an influencer who's a wannabe businessman who doesn't actually understand or know what's going on, and you know, just because of who he is, you know, brings in people, and you know, because of the trust that lies underneath. The key players involved, you know, they're just out backstabbing each other. Nobody's actually worried about the project. Nobody actually wants the thing to take off, and it's all about filling your own pockets. And so yeah, that's just like a very, very bad mix of people, a strategy, the plan, like just all of it. So yeah, I mean, those are just some of my thoughts on it. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. Clean Phone is the perfect phone for your kids because it allows you to manage everything on the phone remotely. It has tons of amazing features, such as easily allowing you to pick and choose which apps and games your child can use, provides you access to active phone monitoring, including SMS and phone call usage, allows you to control how long and how often your kids can use apps or the internet. You can even check their call and SMS logs, including inbound and outbound calls and messages, and is the perfect way to manage their screen time. Check them out in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a great day.